Hello everyone. In this video, I will discuss a new topic which is consumer equilibrium. This topic and chapter is very important not only for the HS students but also for degree, pass and honors students. So please be very attentive while watching the video. In this video, I will discuss four topics of consumer equilibrium. First, I will discuss who is a consumer, how the consumer attains equilibrium, and why we should study consumer equilibrium. Then, I will discuss a very important topic of consumer equilibrium, that is the concept of utility. Also, we will study the law of diminishing marginal utility and the relationship between total utility and marginal utility. So let's start our discussion with the question, who is a consumer? In economics, consumer is an individual or a group of individuals who uses their limited income on consumption of various goods and services for fulfillment of their wants. So consumer is a person who distributes his limited income to purchase various goods and services so that the consumer fulfills his or her needs. Now, what is the study of consumer behavior? So basically, consumer behavior studies how a consumer distributes his or her limited income in order to purchase which goods and services. This is one of the very fundamental questions of microeconomics. The theory of consumer behavior studies how a consumer distributes his or her income in order to purchase goods and services. Basically, the theory of consumer behavior deals with how the consumer attains equilibrium. So, what is consumer equilibrium? First, let us know the term equilibrium. Equilibrium, as the name suggests, means a state of balance. Equilibrium represents a state of balance, a balanced state where all the economic transactions should occur. It is a position which is best for anyone, and this position is, if once attained, there is no likelihood to move away from it. So that means equilibrium is a stable and a point or a situation which all the economic transactions should occur. So for a consumer, what can be the equilibrium position? For a consumer, equilibrium position or the best position will be when the consumer distributes his or her income in order to purchase various goods and services in such a way that the consumer gets maximum level of satisfaction. So for a consumer, equilibrium means a situation, a position where the consumer attains maximum satisfaction by distributing his limited income on goods and services. So basically, consumer equilibrium means when the consumer attained maximum satisfaction. Now, the theory or the approaches to consumer equilibrium from time to time has changed by many economists. Many economists from time to time has developed various theories or concept of consumer equilibrium. The two most prominent or important theories that you have to study is Marshall's theory of consumer equilibrium, which is also known as cardinal approach or utility approach, and the other theory of consumer equilibrium that you have to study is Hicksian theory of consumer equilibrium, or the ordinary approach, or the indifference curve theory of consumer equilibrium. So we'll start with the Marshallian approach, or the cardinal approach, or the utility approach to consumer equilibrium. This approach of consumer equilibrium was propounded by Professor Alfred Marshall. This approach to consumer equilibrium is based on the concept of utility. So let us try to know about the concept of utility. Then we'll proceed to the Marshall's theory of consumer equilibrium. But let us try first to know about utility. Utility is the power of a commodity to satisfy human wants. Whenever we consume a commodity, we get satisfaction. So the power of a commodity to satisfy human wants is known as utility. For example, if a consumer consumes 5 oranges, the total satisfaction that the consumer will derive from these 5 units of orange will be called total utility. And if the consumer consumes one more additional orange, then the additional satisfaction from the 6th unit of consumption of orange will be called marginal utility. So total utility is the sum total of all the satisfactions that the consumer gets from consumption of all the units of a particular commodity. And marginal utility is the additional or the extra satisfaction that the consumer derives from consuming additional unit of a particular commodity. Total utility can be derived by adding marginal utilities, and in order to derive marginal utility, we have to use the formula change in total utility by change in quantity of consumption. So by using this formula, change in total utility divided by change in units of consumption, we can derive marginal utility. Now there is always a debate among the economists whether utility can be measurable. There are two theories regarding whether utility is measurable or not: cardinal utility and theory of ordinal utility. The cardinal utility theory says that utility is measurable just as prices and quantities are. We can measure utility in terms of numbers such as 1, 2, 3 and so on. So according to cardinal utility theory, utility can be measurable in terms of numbers. For example, if I consume a orange, then I can assume that I will get 5 utils from the consumption of orange. So utils means the unit that measures satisfaction. It is an imaginary unit. Whereas the ordinal utility theory says that utility is not measurable, because utility or satisfaction is a psychological concept. So we cannot measure utility, but we can give order or rank to our utilities. For example, if I like orange more than apple, then I can give orange the first rank and apple the second rank. So according to the ordinal utility theory, although we cannot measure utility in terms of numbers, but we can give rank or order to our preferences. So these are the two theories about the measurability of utility. Next, we'll discuss a very important law, the law of diminishing marginal utility. So what is a law? A law is the establishment of a general truth on the basis of a particular observation or experiment. Laws are universally valid and they explain the relationship between two or more phenomena on the basis of observation and experiment. So economical laws are also universally valid, and economical laws also explain relationship between variables on the basis of observation and experiment. So the law of diminishing marginal utility, this is also one of the fundamental law of consumption, and this law was first given by German economist H.H. Goosen. This law is also called Goosen's first law of consumption. Now what does that law says? The law says that when a consumer consumes a commodity again and again, his total utility keep on increasing, but the additional satisfaction, the extra satisfaction from consumption of each unit of the commodity decreases. For example, if I consume the first unit of apple, then the utility from that first unit of consumption will be very high. Then if I consume the second unit of apple, the additional utility will be less compared to the first unit. In the same way, when I consume the third unit of apple, the additional satisfaction will be further less compared to the second unit. So in this way, when we consume a good or any commodity again and again, our additional satisfaction falls from each unit of consumption. Now, in order to explain the law, we'll take some help of assumptions. I have already said that assumptions are things which are assumed to be there and constant. Now in order to explain the law of diminishing marginal utility, we will assume that the commodity that the consumer consumes, the size, quality, taste and quantity, etc., all are same. That means the commodity that the consumer will consume again and again must have the same size, same taste, same quantity and same quality. Otherwise, this law of diminishing mu, that is additional satisfaction that decreases, that will not hold true. That is why we have to take this assumption. The next assumption is that the consumption must be continuous. There should be no gap between the consumption of the unit of that particular good. Also, the income, taste and habit or preference of the consumer must be same. If this we don't take these assumptions, then the law will not have a universal validity. So in order to prove the law, we have to take these assumptions. Now in order to explain the law, we'll take the help of table and diagram. In the table, there are three columns. The first column represents units of oranges consumed. There is the first unit that is consumed, second unit consumed, third unit consumed. In this way, up to 8 unit of consumption. The next column is total utility. We can see that when the consumer consumes first unit of the orange, it gets 10 utils. So the marginal utility is also 10. When the consumer consumes second unit of the orange, total utility increases to 18, but the addition in total utility from 10 to 18 is 8. So 8 is the marginal utility. When the consumer again consumes the third unit, the additional utility is decreases to 6. In this way, the additional utility, that is the marginal utility of the consumer, decreases, and at unit 6 the additional utility of the consumer is 0. So the consumer will not consume more than the 5th unit, because at 6th unit the additional utility of the consumption is 0, and if the consumer consumes more than the 6th unit, then his marginal utility will become negative. Then we have explained the table in terms of diagram. In the diagram, in the horizontal axis we have measured units of oranges consumed, and on the vertical axis we have measured marginal utility. By joining the points, we got the marginal utility curve, which is downward sloping. The marginal utility slopes downward because of the decrease in additional satisfaction as the consumer consumes more amount of the good. When the marginal utility becomes 0 at unit 6, it is called point of satiety or point of full satisfaction. So the marginal utility curve slopes downward, and it is because as we consume more and more units of the good, marginal utility or additional satisfaction of the consumer decreases. So this is all about the law of diminishing marginal utility. Next and the last topic is the relationship between total utility and marginal utility. So we have used the same table where there are 3 columns: units of oranges consumed, total utility, and marginal utility. The numbers that we have taken, these numbers are imaginary and hypothetical. These numbers we have used in order to explain the law of diminishing marginal utility. Then we have derived this diagram, total utility curve and marginal utility curve, from the table. The total utility curve, we can see that total utility increases as the units of consumption increases. At point 6, the total utility is maximum, and after attaining maximum, total utility falls, decreases. So that's why the curve is moving downward. Now the marginal utility, as we have already explained, the marginal utility curve slopes downward. When total utility is maximum, the marginal utility becomes 0, and when total utility falls, the marginal utility becomes negative. So from this table and diagram, we can derive the relationship between total utility and marginal utility. The first point is that when total utility increases, we can show in the diagram, when total utility increases, marginal utility decreases. This is the first point. When total utility increases at decreasing rate, marginal utility decreases. The second point is when total utility is maximum, marginal utility is 0. So here total utility is maximum and the marginal utility curve touches the x-axis, that means it is 0. In the table also we can verify that when total utility is 30, marginal utility is 0. So at maximum point of total utility, mu is 0, and remember, when mu is 0, it is called point of satiety. The next point of difference or relationship between TU and mu is that when total utility decreases, marginal utility becomes negative. When total utility decreases, that is at 7th unit it is 28, at 8th unit of consumption it is 24, so it is decreasing, and the marginal utility is negative. It is below the x-axis, so the marginal utility curve becomes negative when total utility decreases. And the fourth point of relationship between total utility and marginal utility is that marginal utility is derived from total utility. Remember the formula of marginal utility, it is change in total utility divided by change in marginal utility. So marginal utility is derived from total utility. Change in total utility divided by, it is actually change of units of consumption. So this is all for today. In the next class, I'll discuss the Marshallian theory of consumer equilibrium. So please watch this video very carefully, because this concept of utility is very important in order to understand the theory of consumer equilibrium, both the Marshallian and indifference curve. Thank you.